No one knows for certain why they were made, but scattered across the world from hills to barren deserts are circles of stone built by ancient peoples. But their precision and mystery endured for thousands of years. These are 15 of the most haunting and fascinating stone circles ever discovered. Starting with number 15, the Castlerigg Stone Circle in Cumbria, England. Located just outside the town of Keswick, the Castlerigg Stone Circles is one of Britain's oldest and coolest prehistoric monuments. It was constructed around 3000 BCE during the late Neolithic period, and that makes it over 5,000 years old. The circle consists of 38 stones, though archaeologists believe there may have been originally as many as 42. The stones vary in height, with the tallest reaching about 2.3 meters, and they form an oval shape that's about 30 meters in diameter. The elevated location has led researchers to consider that the site may have had an astronomical function, and while there's no definitive evidence of precise alignments with celestial bodies, some stones appear to correspond roughly with sunrise and sunset points. Excavations in the early 20th century and small-scale digs revealed minimal finds, just a few charcoal fragments and evidence of a possible central burial or ritual pit, and those traces do suggest that the site may have been used for gatherings or ceremonies involving fire, but the exact purpose is still unknown. This site predates the main construction phase of Stonehenge by several centuries, and it's one of the earliest examples of a true stone circle in northwest Europe. The style of construction does link it to other circles found in Cumbria and southern Scotland, hinting at a shared cultural network among the Neolithic communities. But despite its age and exposure, it survived remarkably intact, providing one of the most authentic glimpses into early prehistoric monument building. Whatever its purpose, it's a powerful reminder of the early human cooperation and alignment with the surrounding land, a feat that was achieved only with the most basic tools. It's a quiet monument to an age long before written history, when communities expressed beliefs and order through the placement of stone, sky, and earth. Number 14. The Almendres Cromlech, Portugal. Among the olive groves in Portugal's Alentejo region, the Almendres Cromlech is one of the largest and best preserved megalithic sites in Europe. It was discovered in 1964, and it dates back to between 6000 and 4000 BCE. It's older than both Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids of Egypt. The site contains nearly 100 standing stones, some reaching up to 2.5 meters in height, arranged in two distinct but connected enclosures. The western section is composed of circular clusters of stones, while the eastern section extends in a more oval or elliptical layout. Many of the stones have carved markings like spirals, cup marks, and other geometric patterns, which are characteristic of Neolithic symbol art found throughout the Iberian Peninsula. The purpose of the Cromlech remains uncertain, though excavations and studies have proposed several interpretations. One theory, supported by alignments observed by archaeoastronomers, is that the site was used to mark the solar and lunar cycles, possibly functioning as an early astronomical observatory. The arrangement of some stones appeared to align with the sunrise points during the equinoxes and solstices, but another interpretation is that the site was used for rituals linked to fertility or seasonal change. Radiocarbon dating and stratigraphic studies have showed that the site was built and modified over several millennia, and the earliest stones may have been placed as individuals, marking territorial or spiritual boundaries. Later generations then expanded the structure, rearranging the stones into circular and then oval formations. This long period of use indicates that Almendres had enduring importance within the Neolithic culture, rather than being a short-lived ceremonial site. Despite its size, though, it's remained largely unknown to the wider public until the mid-20th century. Today, it's protected as a national monument under Portuguese law. The surrounding oak and olive trees add to the sense of isolation here that often defines these landscapes. Nearby are dozens of smaller stone alignments and menhirs, as well as the Great Dolmen of Zambujeiro, suggesting that there was a major center for ritual and ceremonial activity thousands of years ago. Few other prehistoric sites in Western Europe show such a long sequence of development, from an isolated standing stone to an organized enclosure. It's one of the most tangible connections to early Neolithic life on the Iberian Peninsula, a site where stone and time and ritual all converged in a way that's still not fully understood. It remains a puzzle, an archaeological puzzle, offering insight into how Europe's earliest farming societies expressed their belief, astronomy, and community through this monumental stonework. Number 13. The Ring of Brodgar, Orkney, Scotland. Sitting on a narrow strip of land between two lochs on the Orkney mainland, the Ring of Brodgar is one of the most iconic prehistoric monuments in Scotland. It's estimated to have been built between 2500 and 2000 BCE. It forms part of a larger ceremonial landscape here that includes other structures like the Stones of Stennis and the Ness of Brodgar settlement. Together, these sites make up the heart of Neolithic Orkney, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Area. The circle originally contained 60 standing stones, of which 36 remain today. The diameter of the circle is about 104 meters, making it one of the larger ones in Britain. The stones, sometimes over 4 meters high, are made from local sandstone and were likely quarried nearby. Surrounding the circle is a deep ditch that was cut directly into the bedrock, about 3 meters deep and about 10 meters wide, which was a pretty big feat for people without metal tools. Excavations here have uncovered little evidence of any domestic activity, which does reinforce the idea that it was purely ceremonial. Some propose it was used as seasonal or astronomical observances, others suggest it functioned as a meeting place for communities across Orkney. The surrounding landscape, filled with other Neolithic constructions, shows that Brodgar was part of a dense complex that had evolved over the centuries. Excavations at the nearby Ness of Brodgar site have provided some new context, revealing a network of stone buildings, some decorated with carvings and pigments, and these findings do suggest that the Ring of Brodgar was not an isolated monument, but one element in a cultural and religious center. Although weathering and lightning strikes have damaged several stones, conservation work does ensure that it continues to stand as much as it did thousands of years ago, silent but commanding, a legacy of Neolithic skill and communal effort. It's a rare prehistoric site where the landscape, geometry, and the rituals all seem to converge in perfect balance. Number 12. The Drombeg Stone Circle of County Cork in Ireland. Overlooking the Atlantic coast in southwest Ireland is the Drombeg Stone Circle. It's also known as the Druid's Altar. Though smaller than many of Europe's megalithic monuments, Drombeg is among the best preserved stone circles in Ireland and one of the most thoroughly studied. It consists of 17 stones arranged in a near-perfect circle about 9 meters in diameter, though it's believed that 17 was the original number before some were displaced. Radiocarbon dating indicates the site was in use around 1100 to 800 BCE during the Late Bronze Age, making it significantly younger than Stonehenge or Brodgar. Despite its scale, though, Drombeg shows a high level of planning and precision. The axis of the circle is aligned towards the setting sun on the winter solstice, which does suggest that observation played a central role in its design, and on that day the sun sets directly over a distant notch in the hills, which aligns perfectly with a pair of portal stones that mark the circle's entrance. Excavations in the 1950s revealed a stone-lined pit at the center of the circle, containing cremated human remains wrapped in thick cloth. Nearby, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a small prehistoric settlement and a cooking site. This consisted of a trough lined with stones, a hearth, and a nearby water source, evidence that rituals at the stone circle may have been accompanied by communal feasts. The name Druid's Altar came later, during the 18th and 19th centuries, when antiquarians mistakenly associated all the stone circles with Celtic Druidic practices. There is no evidence linking the Drombeg Circle directly to the Druids, who lived over 1,000 years later, but modern research places its origins firmly in the Bronze Age, long before written Celtic traditions. Today, on winter solstice evenings, visitors will often gather to watch the sun align with the stones just as it did nearly 3,000 years ago. It's a timeless moment, connecting the living today with the long-vanished builders of yesteryear. It embodies the intersection of landscape and human intention. It defines the mystery of Europe's prehistoric stone circles. Number 11. The Avebury Stone Circle in Wiltshire, England. Located in the English county of Wiltshire, the Avebury Stone Circle is one of the largest prehistoric monuments in Europe. It was built around 2600 BCE during the Neolithic period, and it predates many phases of Stonehenge and covers an area so big it's part of the modern village of Avebury it sits within today. It consists of a massive circular bank and a ditch enclosing an area about 347 meters in diameter, with an outer ring of standing stones and 2 smaller inner circles. Estimates suggest that the outer circle originally contained around 100 stones, many standing up to 4 meters tall and weighing several tons, and within the main circle are 2 smaller stone rings, the northern and southern circles, each one containing about 30 stone. The surrounding ditch excavated into the solid chalk is a feat of its own. It's more than 20 feet deep and 60 feet wide, which was dug entirely with tools made of antler, bone, and stone. Excavations and research does suggest that Avebury was built over several centuries. The site forms part of a much larger ceremonial complex that includes nearby Silbury Hill, the largest artificial mound in Europe, and West Kennet Long Barrow, a Neolithic burial chamber. Together, all these reflect an understanding of engineering and landscape planning. Some researchers believe that the construction of these massive earthworks and circles symbolized social unity among early farming communities, requiring cooperative labor from hundreds of people over the generations. But by the Middle Ages, the original purpose of it had long been forgotten. Many of its stones were toppled or broken by locals, who associated them with pagan rituals. In the 18th century, the antiquarian William Stokely documented and attempted to preserve what remained. His records later helped guide the 20th century restoration efforts, which re-erected some fallen stones and preserved the surrounding land. Managed by the National Trust, it still attracts archaeologists, historians, and visitors from around the world. And despite centuries of study, many questions remain. Why was the monument layout differing from other stone circles, and why was it used in conjunction with nearby sites? Standing within this vast enclosure, you can sense the monument's presence and its role in the prehistoric imagination. A circle large enough to enclose ritual and daily life that still holds meaning more than 4,000 years later. Number 10. The Odry Stone Circles in Poland. In the forests of northern Poland lies one of Central Europe's most intriguing prehistoric sites, the Odry Stone Circles. It's located in the Tukula Forest. This complex contains at least 10 large stone circles and over 30 burial mounds, known locally as kurgans. The site dates from the early centuries of the Common Era, that's between roughly the 1st and 3rd century CE, and it's associated with the Weilbark culture, an archaeological culture often linked to the early Gothic tribes. Excavations here have revealed cremation burials and grave goods within or near the circles, which does suggest the site functioned as a necropolis. Each circle ranges from about 15 to 30 meters in diameter, and it's composed of upright granite stones, some weighing several tons. Archaeologists first recorded this site in the 19th century, and then systematic excavations began in the 1920s. The discovery of pottery fragments, glass beads, iron tools, and bronze ornaments provided a valuable insight into the material culture of the early Goths. Some stones showed signs of deliberate placement and patterns, which possibly aligns with solar or lunar events, though no consistent alignment has ever been proven. During World War II, parts of the site were damaged and some stones were displaced. After the war, Polish archaeologists undertook restoration and protective efforts, designating Odry as a National Heritage Site. And today it's part of a landscaped park with walking paths that allow visitors to explore the circles with the surrounding pine forest. Modern studies using surveys continue to reveal new details, including traces of additional smaller circles that were buried under layers of soil and vegetation, and these findings suggest that the complex was once even larger and more elaborate than previously thought. This site remains among the best preserved examples of these megalithic structures from the early Iron Age in this region. It's tangible proof that the idea of the stone circle did extend far beyond Western Europe, and it continued to evolve long after the Neolithic era ended. Number 9. The Callanish Stones, the Isle of Lewis in Scotland. In the Outer Hebrides on the remote Isle of Lewis in Scotland is one of the most remarkable prehistoric sites, the Callanish Stones, or Callanay in Gaelic, constructed around 2900 BCE. These standing stones predate many other famous megalithic monuments, including most phases of Stonehenge, and the distinctive cruciform layout sets it apart from other circles and suggests a complex combination of ceremonial purposes. The main stone circle is about 13 meters in diameter. It's made up of 13 large stones, some standing over 4 meters tall. And extending out from the circle are 4 rows of stones that form a cross-shaped pattern with a long avenue of stones running northward. At the center stands a solitary monolith, and just beside it lies the remains of a small chambered cairn, where cremated human remains were discovered during excavations in the 19th and 20th. The stones were erected during the late Neolithic period, and they continued to be used or modified well into the Bronze Age, suggesting a long-term cultural importance. The most notable alignment here happens with the major lunar standstill, which is a rare astronomical event that happens roughly every 18.6 years, when the moon reaches its extreme northern or southern rising and setting points. During this event, the moon can be seen skimming along the horizon in direct alignment with the stones. It's a phenomenon visible only from this region. While the exact purpose of the alignment remains uncertain, many people believe they were used to mark seasonal changes or maybe track the celestial patterns vital to agricultural societies. By around 800 BCE, the area surrounding the stones had really fallen out of ceremonial use and was covered up by peat, which did help preserve it. The site remained buried and largely forgotten until the 19th century, when excavations cleared away several feet of peat. Unlike the more tourist-heavy Stonehenge, Callanish retains an atmosphere of tranquility, the stones rising dramatically against the backdrop of the Atlantic coast. It may have functioned as a temple, a calendar, or a meeting place, or all three. Nobody really knows, but what is certain is that Callanish reflects a level of astronomical awareness that was remarkable for its time. Number 8. The Boscawen-un Stone Circle, Cornwall, England. Located near St. Buryan in the far southwest of Cornwall, the Boscawen-un Stone Circle is a well-preserved example of Bronze Age monument building. It dates to around 2500 BCE. The site consists of 19 granite stones arranged in an ellipse approximately 24 meters in diameter. But what makes this especially distinctive is the presence of a single large leaning stone offset from the center, and one uniquely quartz-rich stone within the circle that catches the sunlight differently from the others. The stones are graded in height, with the tallest placed to the southwest, which was a direction aligned with the setting sun during the midsummer solstice. The central stone is over 2.5 meters tall. It's tilted deliberately towards the northeast, a feature that may have had astronomical significance, and some researchers believe the monument was designed to track the solar and lunar events, similar to other structures in Cornwall. In 1862, the antiquarian William Copeland Borlase conducted one of the earliest excavations. He reported finding small pieces of quartz and pottery fragments within the circle, but no definitive burial remains. Later surveys revealed that the site does form part of a broader ritual landscape that includes nearby stone rows, barrows, and enclosures, all likely connected to seasonal ceremonies. The name Boscawen-un derives from the Cornish language, and it means the pasture of the elder tree. The circle sits on an open moorland surrounded by low hills, which offers clear views of the horizon, which is an important feature if the site was used for observing celestial events. One interesting feature is that white quartz stone on the southwest side of the circle. Quartz was often used symbolically in Neolithic and Bronze Age sites, possibly representing light, transformation, or maybe the boundary between life and death. The deliberate inclusion, though, of a single quartz-rich stone may have indicated that it played a special role in ceremonies. Boscawen-un gained renewed attention in the 20th century due to its association with early archaeological fieldwork and the efforts of preservationists. Today, of course, it's managed by Historic England and remains open to visitors year-round. Because of the isolated location here and the minimal modern interference, it retains much of its original atmosphere. Though small compared to others, Boscawen-un offers some insight into the diversity of stone circle design across Britain. As with most prehistoric circles, the exact purpose is uncertain, yet the consistency of the alignments and construction shows that it was built with knowledge, intent, and a profound connection to the land and the sky. Moving on to number 7, the Swinside Stone Circle in Cumbria. Alright, we're back to Cumbria in England on the southern slopes of Blackcomb. The Swinside Stone Circle is sometimes called the Sunken Kirk. It's one of the best preserved and least altered prehistoric monuments in Britain. It was built during the late Neolithic period around 3000 BCE. It consists of 55 stones forming an almost perfect circle, about 27 meters in diameter. The circle did likely contain once up to 60 stones, but a few have fallen or disappeared over the millennia. Each stone was carefully selected from local slate and placed to maintain a remarkably consistent spacing, with only a single entrance break on the southeast side. The tallest stones, about 2 meters high, stand near the entrance, which are gradually decreasing in height around the circumference. In the early 20th century, antiquarians carried out limited surface studies, revealing small quantities of charcoal and a few worked flint tools, but no human remains. These finds could indicate ritual or ceremonial use rather than burial use. The lack of habitation evidence nearby supports the interpretation of this area as a meeting or observatory site, used periodically by Neolithic communities. The name Sunken Kirk stems from a local legend that claims the site was once intended to be a church, but that supernatural forces moved the stones back to their circular formation each night after the builders tried to rearrange them. While purely folklore, the story reflects a long-standing sense of mystery surrounding the stones. Today, it remains relatively isolated, accessible only by a short footpath across farmland, and unlike larger sites like Stonehenge or Avebury, it's seen little tourism development, which allows people to experience it much as it would have appeared thousands of years ago. Though its builders left no written records, its symmetry and orientation speak to an advanced understanding of landscape and celestial cycles. It's a quiet, yet powerful monument to an age when communities expressed unity through the medium of stone. Number 6. The Nabta Playa stone circles of southern Egypt. Alright, so we're a long ways away from the green landscapes of northern Europe here, deep in Egypt's Nubian desert, to one of the world's most surprising sites, the Nabta Playa stone circles. It sits about 700 kilometers south of Cairo, near the modern-day border with Sudan. It predates Stonehenge by at least 1,000 years. The site consists of several small stone circles and alignments believed to have been built by pastoralist communities living in the region between 6 to 4000 BCE. The largest of these structures, often referred to as the Nabta Circle, measures about 4 meters in diameter. It's made up of standing stones arranged in a roughly circular shape. Within and around this circle are larger upright stones that appear to form deliberate alignments with key events, including the summer solstice sunrise. These alignments were first identified in the late 1990s by archaeologists who suggested that the site may represent one of the earliest known examples of an astronomical observatory. But beyond the astronomy, it offers rare insight into the social and cultural development of early African pastoral societies. Over time, they constructed ceremonial centers that featured megalithic markers and tumuli, possibly to commemorate ancestors or deities associated with fertility and rainfall. Radiocarbon dating places many of these constructions between 4500 and 3600 BCE, and interestingly, the people here have had to apply a level of social organization advanced enough to plan and coordinate the transport and placement of these stones. But unfortunately, Nabta Playa eventually became uninhabitable around 3000 BCE as the Sahara underwent rapid desertification. The communities who were once gathered there likely migrated toward the Nile Valley, which did contribute to the emergence of the early Egyptian civilization, and many scholars view the site as a precursor to more monumental stone and tomb architecture. Whether it's viewed as an early observatory, a ceremonial meeting place, or both, the Nabta Playa circles offer a cool glimpse into the ingenuities of Africa's prehistoric peoples, evidence of a practice of erecting stone monuments to mark time and meaning long before written history in one of the world's most unlikely environments. Number 5. The Rollright Stones of Oxfordshire, England. Headed back to England now, the Rollright Stones, from one of England's most complete prehistoric complexes, is located on the border between Oxfordshire and Warwickshire. The site is actually a collection of 3 distinct monuments: the King's Men Stone Circle, the King's Stone Monolith, and the Whispering Knight's Burial Chamber. Together, they represent several phases of Neolithic and early Bronze Age constructions. The main feature, the King's Men Circle, consists of 77 closely set stones that form a near-perfect ring about 33 meters in diameter. Estimates that the circle originally contained around 105 stones, though erosion and damage over time have altered their shapes. The stones are relatively small, none exceeding 2 meters, giving the circle a distinctly intimate atmosphere. About 75 meters away stands the King's Stone, a tall, weathered monolith likely erected during the Bronze Age as a grave marker or maybe a territorial boundary. Nearby, the Whispering Knights, which is a cluster of 5 large stones forming parts of a collapsed dolmen, dated to an even earlier phase around 3800 BCE. Excavations here at the dolmen have revealed fragments of pottery and bone, which does suggest its use as a communal burial site, and the presence of these separate monuments in close proximity indicates that the area remained a ritual landscape for successive generations. Research in the 20th and 21st centuries has aimed to separate fact from legend. Excavations have revealed no evidence of continuous settlement, but have confirmed that the site was used for ceremonial purposes. The careful placement of each stone does suggest deliberate planning, maybe reflecting early forms of social gathering or ritual coordination among the Neolithic farming communities here. Today, the Rollright Stones are under the care of the English Heritage and the Rollright Trust, which is a charitable organization that maintains the site and supports research. Despite the modest size, though, the stones hold some immense archaeological value because of the longevity and the preservation of them. They represent a rare, continuous thread of ritual activity across millennia. Though the site lacks the monumental impact of Stonehenge, its layered history, folklore, and archaeological evidence make it a vital part of Britain's prehistoric story. Number 4. The Rujm el-Hiri, the Golan Heights. In the plains of the central Golan Heights lies one of the Middle East's most mysterious megalithic sites, Rujm el-Hiri, known in Hebrew as the Gilgal Raphaim. This vast circular monument, constructed from more than 40,000 tons of basalt stones, has puzzled archaeologists since its discovery in the 1960s. It consists of 5 concentric stone rings surrounding a central cairn or tumulus covering an area of about 150 meters in diameter. Radiocarbon dating and pottery finds nearby suggest that the site was built during the early Bronze Age, around 3000 BCE, making it over 5,000 years old. The builders are unknown, as the region's nomadic, semi-sedentary populations left few written records. But what is clear is that the construction would have required extensive planning and manpower, which was an extraordinary achievement given the remote terrain. The outer walls are up to 2.5 meters high and several meters thick, built without mortar, using roughly hewn basalt stones. At the center lies a massive burial cairn, about 20 meters wide and nearly 5 meters high, which was added later, possibly during the Middle Bronze Age. The purpose of the site is still a subject of ongoing debate. Some archaeologists interpret it as a burial or funerary complex, while others propose that the alignments indicate astronomical intent. However, alignments may also be coincidental, and no consensus has ever been reached. Modern archaeological surveys using drone imaging and ground-penetrating radar have revealed some additional features around the main structure, including smaller cairns and alignments, which do indicate a much larger ritual landscape than previously recognized. Today, the site lies within a militarized zone, but it is accessible to visitors under certain conditions, and despite the limited accessibility, it does continue to attract researchers studying the ancient Near Eastern megalithic traditions. It is one of the oldest and most mysterious stone circles in Asia. It's a blend of funerary and astronomical features, and it places it among the world's most complex monuments. It is a massive record of culture that was built in stone long before written history began to record even names. Number 3. The Karahunj, Syunak province of Armenia. Situated in southern Armenia, the Karahunj site, also known as Zoratskara, is one of the most impressive monuments in the Caucasus region. This complex consists of over 200 standing stones that are scattered across a plateau at an altitude of about 1,700 meters. Estimates place its construction somewhere around 4000 BCE, though some studies suggest that parts of the site could be even older. The stones themselves are carved from local basalt and vary in height from 1.5 to 2.8 meters, and many circular holes are drilled through their upper sections, which is a unique feature that distinguishes the stones here. The arrangement includes a central circle about 45 meters in diameter, several radiating arms or rows of stones, and a group of separate standing stones extending outwards in linear arrangements. Some of the stones are associated with grave chambers that date to the Bronze Age. However, the precise function of this monument has long been debated. Armenian archaeologists who conducted early research at the site in the 1980s proposed that Karahunj was a necropolis that was used for burial and ancestral worship. Later studies, though, have explored the possibility that it also had an astronomical function. Researchers suggested that Karahunj may have functioned as an ancient observatory for tracking celestial movements. However, other archaeologists caution that the holes might not have been used for astronomical observations at all, as erosion and later modifications make precise alignment difficult to confirm. Modern excavations, though, do continue to refine our understanding of the monument. Pottery and tools found nearby show that the area was inhabited for millennia, from the late Neolithic through to the Iron Age, and the findings do reinforce that Karahunj wasn't built in a single phase, but developed gradually. Today, it is protected as an archaeological reserve by the Armenian government, and it's become a symbol of their national heritage. It's open to visitors, and with the stones standing largely in their original positions, though smaller and less uniform than European circles like Stonehenge, it still represents a parallel development of this megalithic culture, an example of how early civilizations across distant lands independently erected monumental stones to connect the earth and sky. Number 2. The Senegambian Stone Circles, West Africa. Across a huge region of West Africa are the Senegambian Stone Circles, a landscape of over 1,000 stone circles and tumuli that's scattered along the Gambia River Valley. These structures, built between the 3rd century BCE and the 16th century, represent one of the largest concentrations of monuments like this in the world. They're recognized collectively as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Each stone circle is composed of upright laterite pillars, generally between 1 to 2.5 meters tall, arranged in near-perfect rings ranging from 4 to 6 meters in diameter. Many of the circles are accompanied by burial mounds containing human remains and grave goods like iron tools, pottery, and ornaments. Radiocarbon dating of charcoal and organic material nearby indicate that the monuments were built over many centuries by complex organized societies. The laterite used for the stones was quarried locally, shaped while still soft, and then allowed to harden in the open air. These excavations have revealed quarries with half-finished pillars, showing the process used to extract and transport them. Archaeological studies led by British and Senegalese teams have found consistent patterns of internment beneath or adjacent to the circles, often with multiple burials in successive layers. Now, these findings indicate that the monuments weren't isolated things, but part of an ongoing tradition of ancestral veneration that spanned more than a millennium. The sites at Wassou and Wanar have been extensively excavated. At Wassou, 11 stone circles and a number of burial mounds have been documented, including one mound containing over 50 individuals, interred in multiple phases. Today, the Senegambian stone circles are considered among Africa's most important heritages. Protected jointly by the Gambia and Senegal, it attracts researchers and visitors who are interested in understanding early West African civilization beyond the well-known kingdoms of later centuries. While the builders' names have been lost to time, the stone rings remain as tangible links to one of the earliest organized civilizations in sub-Saharan Africa. Number 1. Stonehenge, Wiltshire, England. I mean, come on, it had to be Stonehenge, right? It's situated on the Salisbury Plain in southern England. It remains the most famous and extensively studied stone circle in the world. Built in several stages between roughly 3000 and 1500 BCE, it does represent one of humanity's earliest and most enduring achievements. Unlike many smaller stone circles, Stonehenge wasn't a single construction event, but the result of over a millennium of development, during which successive generations modified and expanded the site. The first major phase began around 3000 BCE with the construction of a circular ditch and a bank enclosing an area of about 100 meters in diameter. Within this earthwork were placed timber posts and later a ring of small bluestones brought from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 200 kilometers away. Around 2500 BCE, builders added the larger sarsen stones, locally quarried sandstone blocks weighing up to 25 tons each. These are arranged in the iconic horseshoe and outer circle that define the monument today. The horizontal lintels connecting the upright stones do show an advanced understanding of balance and engineering. Nearby sites like Durrington Walls, the Avenue, and Woodhenge form part of an interconnected network of processional routes and ritual spaces which stretch across the Salisbury Plain. Excavations at Durrington Walls uncovered evidence of seasonal feasting, suggesting that thousands of people gathered here periodically to participate in communal events that are linked to Stonehenge. The monument's central axis is oriented towards the sunrise on the summer solstice and sunset on the winter solstice. This precision has led archaeologists to conclude that the site was used, at least partly, as a solar calendar. However, Stonehenge did also function as a burial ground. Created remains found in its early phases make it one of Britain's largest Neolithic cemeteries. Scientific dating and analysis have clarified many aspects of the chronology of Stonehenge, but not its exact purpose. It may have served multiple roles: a temple for sun worship, a site for ancestor veneration, and a place of healing or pilgrimage. Recent isotopic studies of human remains indicate that some individuals buried there came from as far away as Western Wales, which does reinforce the idea that Stonehenge attracted visitors from across the British Isles. Of course, over the centuries, the monument has inspired endless speculation, myth, and research. Medieval chroniclers linked it to giants and the wizard Merlin, while the 20th and 21st century archaeology has replaced the legend with some data-driven analysis. Excavations led by English Heritage and other institutions continue to uncover new evidence, including the discovery of surrounding pits and post holes that reveal earlier wooden structures predating the stones. Today, though, Stonehenge is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and of course it's one of Britain's most visited landmarks. Efforts to protect it from nearby development have been ongoing for decades, which hopefully will ensure its preservation as both a national symbol and an invaluable archaeological record. Though its exact meaning may never fully be known, the alignment with the sun and its presence on the open plain connect the modern world to a civilization that measured time, honored its dead, and shaped its understanding of the universe in stone.